Do you know China is building a gateway to South Asia, a new metropolis about the same size as central London, a financial hub no less than Dubai with a business-friendly atmosphere like Singapore. This city will be lined with Chinese skyscrapers, exotic hotels and theme parks. It will have a population of about 80,000 people with thousands more commuting each day. There'll be new jobs, new opportunities, good money and a good lifestyle. I know it sounds like an enticing plan, but wait till you hear where this plan is being hatched. Here, right in the backyard of India, just 290 kilometers away from Tamil Nadu, this is Port City, Colombo. Do you know how it's being built? By reclaiming several hectares of land from the sea. Do you know why it's being built? To give China a strategic edge in the Indian Ocean. As I speak, tens of Sri Lankan ships sponsored by China are working overtime to dredge sand from the bottom of the Indian Ocean and pour it on a 600-acre stretch to get the city going. The question is, should it get going at all? Hello and welcome to Gravitas Plus. I'm Palki Sharma Upadhyay. China is building another nest in Sri Lanka, the Colombo Port City, a $1.4 billion project overlooking the Colombo port. This city is part of China's Belt and Road Initiative, the same initiative which has plunged several countries into debt. And that is just one piece of the puzzle here. The concerns are many. We'll get there in a bit. First, let's understand what this project really is. The idea came from Mahinda Rajapaksa when he was the president of Sri Lanka. He was inspecting a landfill near Colombo South Port and is said to have been inspired to build a well-planned city based on a model of the world's biggest financial hubs. The year was 2004. For the next 10 years, several proposals were made, but the idea never saw the light of day. Then in 2014, China entered the picture with its checkbooks and construction might. Two state-owned Chinese companies submitted an unsolicited proposal to fulfill Mr. Rajapaksa's dream. Sri Lanka accepted the proposal. Why wouldn't it? These Chinese firms were among Fortune 500 companies. They promised all-in-one packages. Reclaiming land from the sea, constructing breakwaters, connecting road networks, a supply of services, the works. But what was in it for them? What did they stand to gain? A land lease. Allow me to explain. The Chinese consortium invested $1.4 billion to develop an area of 269 hectares. Out of this, 125 hectares of land was taken by the Sri Lankan government and 88 hectares, while owned by the Sri Lankan government, was given to China on a 99-year lease. Plus, a freehold on 20 hectares of land. I know this sounds a little complicated. So in simple words, Sri Lanka sold its land and resources in return for development and money from China. The project was launched in September 2014. It was a grand ceremony. There were dozens of school children and elephants. Chinese President Xi Jinping himself landed in Colombo to green flag this project. The visit was highly scrutinized. Questions were raised. Why had Colombo granted a lease to China? Whom does it help? Sri Lanka had already borrowed millions of dollars from China for construction of the Hambantota port and the Oluville harbors. Now it had granted China a land lease. The concerns were valid. What was Sri Lanka's excuse? At that time, the former chairman of Sri Lankan Ports Authority said, and listen to this carefully, we will receive a large financial benefit by granting these land extents on long-term lease that will enable us to receive a large financial benefit, which will in turn enable us to pay back all loans. It's a classic case of counting the chickens before they hatch. Nobody was convinced. The Rajapaksa government fell the next year. Their successors, President Maithripala Sirisena and Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, briefly halted the project. But due to financial and diplomatic obligations, they did not scrap it. In 2019, the Rajapaksas came back to power. They promised to expedite the project. The sense of urgency caught the world's eye. The criticism mounted. Today, Sri Lankans themselves are up in arms against this project. What exactly are their concerns? Well, there are several. First of all, the social concern. High-end luxury with concessions for foreigners and none of it for the locals. They say the benefits they get will be short-term and limited. There'll be jobs, yes, but only for local construction workers and staff at hotels and shopping malls. They fear it will widen the gap between the rich and the poor. Then we have environmental concerns. Experts say this project will affect marine life and livelihoods. The digging of sand from the ocean bed is leading to the erosion of beaches, destruction of breeding sites for marine life, and a decline in fish population, which, by the way, is a major source of nutrition in this country. The third concern, and a very big one, is about sovereignty. Sri Lanka passed a new bill recently, the Colombo Port City Economic Commission Act. Now, this bill makes a president-appointed commission the sole authority of this project, with the power to grant registrations, licenses, authorizations, or any such approvals to any businesses or activities in Colombo Port City. This commission will have Chinese nationals as members. What's worse, it will not be subjected to the laws of the land. There are fears that it will function in an undemocratic manner with no elected representative on board. And these three concerns have united Sri Lankans from all walks of life to oppose this project. Recently, the Archbishop of Colombo categorically told the government that development is not selling the country's resources. Please do not offer our land to different countries. Significantly, the head of Colombo's Abhay Rama temple, who happens to be the most powerful Buddhist monk in the country, said that the government is trying to make the port city a Chinese colony. Then we have Chandrika Kumaratunga, the former president of Sri Lanka, who says the entire country has now become a Chinese colony. And this criticism is not limited to mere words. Petitions are being filed in Sri Lanka's top court, accusing the government of selling their country for Chinese money. A total of 20 individuals and organizations recently moved the Supreme Court of Sri Lanka, saying that the Port City Commission infringes on judicial functions and violates the country's constitution. And these were domestic concerns. Now let's tell you why India should be worried. This will be the area of activity of the Colombo Port City. It's a sensitive region. Nearly 70% of India's container traffic passes through here. Chinese ships buzzing here will be a daily affair once the project is complete. And this will be a major security threat. In 2014, Chinese submarines and a warship were allowed to dock at the Colombo port, and they stayed there for 5 days with an utter disregard for Indian sensitivities. In April this year, a China-bound vessel containing radioactive material docked at the Hambantota port without declaring that the material it carried was hazardous. And given this track record, one can only imagine what sort of stunts China will try to pull once the Colombo port city is complete. You see, the threat is real. This port could be used to augment China's intelligence and counter-intelligence operations. It could eavesdrop on Indian intelligence and communication, enhance cyber threats and satellite tracking, and ultimately challenge India's domination of this region. It could also be used for infiltration. In the past, remember, Pakistan has used its High Commission in Colombo to infiltrate agents and terrorists into India from the south. With increased Chinese presence, the threat for India then will be two-pronged, and India will have to tighten its coastal security to prevent such misadventures. And why just India? The implications of a Chinese presence in Sri Lanka are global. As it is, China is not too happy with the formation of the Quad, the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue Framework, an alliance between the US, India, Japan and Australia to maintain a free and stable Indo-Pacific. The Colombo port city will make it easier for China to counter all future operations of the Quad. It will be easier for the Chinese Navy to track warship movements, to control shipping routes, to dictate maritime trade rules to the world. The bottom line is this: we can't just sit and cry horse about China's actions. Sri Lanka, like any other country, is free to make its choices, good or bad. What India needs to do is to constantly engage with Colombo, strengthen its economic partnership, and create opportunities for new investments. Because India cannot afford to have another neighbor dancing to Chinese tunes.